Welcome, Luminous Soul. In this series, I'm sharing information on soul ascension and what true salvation means through the teachings of Christ found in Gnostic and canonical books, with other ancient texts, along with physics and shamanic views and rituals to anchor it into reality. Today we turn to the third pillar of Jesus' teachings and of the path of ascension, humility. This is not humiliation or weakness. True humility is clarity, a deep knowing of who you are in great spirit. It breaks the binding of ignorance by stripping away the illusion of ego-driven knowledge. Jesus' humility can be found in the scriptures in John 13, verses 3 through 17, where we witness Christ kneeling to wash the disciples' feet. He poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with a towel that was wrapped around him. This was the work of a servant, something no rabbi, let alone the Son of God, was expected to do. Jesus lowers himself to demonstrate that true leadership is rooted in service. His humility here is physical, symbolic, and deeply spiritual. In Matthew 21:5, it's written, "See, your king comes to you, gentle and riding on a donkey." A conquering king would ride a horse, but Jesus chooses a donkey, the symbol of peace and humility, fulfilling prophecy and subverting worldly power structures. In Philippians 2:8, we hear, "And being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to death, even death on the cross." The cross is the ultimate expression of humility. Jesus' humility was not weakness. It was sacred strength cloaked in gentleness. From the manger to the cross, his life whispered, "The way up is down, the way to reign is to serve, and the way to wholeness is through surrender." In the wilderness, Jesus fasts for 40 days, and when tempted with power, pride, and provision, he responds not with might, but with surrender to God's word. He proves himself not through spectacle, but obedience. The binding of ignorance is not simply a lack of knowledge. It is the illusion that we already know. It's the quiet arrogance that says, "I don't need help. I'm in control." But humility is the medicine. Humility does not humiliate. It liberates. It says, "I am learning. I don't know everything, but I'm willing to be shown." It brings us back to our rightful place, not above or below others, but in sacred partnership with Spirit. It reminds us that truth is not owned, it's revealed. In the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, she faces the third power in Mary 8:10 through 15. The soul speaks to the power of ignorance during the ascent. The power approached, and it's called ignorance. Ignorance said, "Where are you going? You are bound in wickedness." The soul answered, "Why do you judge me, though I have not judged? I was bound, but I have not bound. I was not recognized, but I have recognized that the all is being dissolved, both the earthly and the heavenly." Ignorance, like desire before it, tries to lay claim to the soul, to trap it in ego and false identity. But the soul speaks with clarity and humility. "I served you as a garment," meaning I wore you for a time, but you were never my essence. In the Gospel of Thomas, saying 67, he says, "He who has known the all but fails to know himself lacks everything," meaning knowing everything externally without inner realization is spiritual poverty. Humility invites self-awareness as the foundation of true knowledge. In the Gospel of Philip, he speaks on ignorance and truth. Ignorance is the mother of all evil, but those who are in the truth will be perfect when all the truth is revealed. Humility dissolves egoic ignorance, opening us to the expanding light of truth. On strength and weakness, he says, "The mysteries of truth are made known in symbols and images. We shall go in there by means of lowly types and forms of weakness." What this is saying is true power is hidden in simplicity. Archetypes of humility, symbol, and surrender carry the deepest realities. When defining ignorance and humility, Philip names ignorance as the mother of all evil, but also promises that those who live in truth will be revealed as perfect. Humility is the undoing of illusion. In other sacred texts, such as the Egyptian Book of the Dead, we find again mention of the importance of humility in the negative confessions. There it states, "I have not been arrogant. I have not spoken falsehood knowingly." The Egyptians believed to enter the afterlife, your heart must be as light as a feather, lightened by humility, truth, and the absence of ego. From the Tibetan Book of the Dead, humility is mentioned in the following way. "Do not cling to your ego, for it is the source of suffering. Man is what man thinks." In the Bardo teachings, ego is seen as the root of suffering and rebirth. Only letting go of attachment, of identity, can the soul see clearly and return to source. The shamanic understanding of humility is that the healer becomes hollow, not empty in despair, but empty like a flute, open to the breath of spirit. The ego is heavy, a dense vibration. Humility clears the field, allowing divine frequencies to move freely. The shaman does not know. They listen, trust, open, and allow. This mirrors the Christ path, the teachings of the Bardo, and the wisdom of the ancients. To heal, to channel, to serve, we must first bow. In Tibetan Buddhism, the ego is ritually offered, not to be destroyed, but to be transmuted. I do not need to be the source. I only need to stay open to it. The principle of vibration and resonance in the Kabbalion teaches that nothing is at rest. Everything moves. Everything vibrates. Every emotion, thought, and belief carries a frequency. Pride, fear, and certainty are dense. They block flow. But humility lifts us. We become like tuning forks. We align with divine frequency, not by controlling it, but by attuning to it. The physics connection is resonance. In physics, resonance occurs when one object vibrating at a certain frequency causes another to vibrate in harmony, not by force, but by shared vibration. A singing bowl causes another to violin string stirs a silent echo. So too with the soul. When we humble ourselves, we become instruments, not passive, but powerfully attuned. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles themselves will be exalted. Matthew 23:12. Humility is sacred surrender, the soul's way of saying, teach me again. I trust what I cannot see. From the Egyptian tomb to the Tibetan Bardo, from the teachings of Jesus to the wisdom of the Andes, the message echoes, let go, stay low, open wide, and let your heart be light. Let your mind be clear. Let your soul vibrate with the tone of the divine love. And may that tone ripple outward, softening hearts, loosening chains, awakening memory. Because when even one soul humbles itself enough to match the frequency of the holy, the whole field begins to shift. The ritual in part 2 is a simple stone ritual to help anchor in humility. All you'll need is a stone, a bowl of water, and an open heart. Till then, walk gently and carry the light of humility within you. Next time, we'll talk about faith and the release of the fourth binding, the craving for death and despair.